Hey, we're streaming on Facebook Live. Hey, everyone, welcome. Robert Imbriali here. Happy to have you aboard. I know it's late on a Friday afternoon. Some of you are going to be watching this perhaps later in the week, but it's okay. Content is still good. It will still be fresh, I promise you, a few days later. We have no challenge with that. I am again in studio having fun today with a really good friend of mine. Adam Urbanski is here, and you may know the name because he's been around the internet marketing world for many, many years, and someone I ran into, I'm going to say back in 2002, 2003, somewhere there. Actually spoke at one of his events way back when, and we just sort of became friends, and we've been out of touch for a little while. You know, life gets in the way, things get busy, but now he's, you know, we're back in touch again. I think I actually sent him a note on Facebook. Thank you, Facebook, for reconnecting me with so many people I've lost contact with over the years, and we had a chance to reconnect, and we had a conversation, and we got into this talking about live streaming, like what we're doing here, webinars, webcasting, teleseminars, and he and I both have been playing in this game for a very, very long time, and I thought, hey, wouldn't it be great to have Adam come down and let's have a conversation about webinars, because we get a lot of questions about this from our audience, and they wonder, they say, well, does this really work, or is this just a fad? You know, we heard of Meerkat, and then last year it was Periscope, and now this year it's Facebook Live, and you know, there's so many other systems out there. Google Hangouts has been hanging out there for a long time. You know, are these tools viable? Can they work? Can you build your business with it? And I thought, well, you know, if just me telling you that, you may not believe me. But if I have an advocate here, you know, that may help a lot. So, Adam, I want to welcome you. Thank you so much for being here today. Great to see you, my friend.
My pleasure. Glad to reconnect. We hugged it out. We good to go?
We hugged it out. Yeah, we're in great shape, and I'm excited today because this is my topic. This is my world, doing live webcasting. This is my world, doing presentations and helping other speakers come on board. So I've got a lot of speakers in queue who are going to come down, do interviews with me and hang out here. And some of them, like tomorrow, Andy Shepard's going to be here tomorrow, depending on when you watch this. But Andy Shepard's coming in. He's going to be teaching a course tomorrow. So he'll be on stage and delivering the whole thing. It'll be a blast.
I'm laughing because I'm like, wait a second, you're using my time to promote another guest? Stop it, you know? You know, the reason I'm excited is because it's going to be a really short interview.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question you ask, does it work, any of this stuff? I mean, the answer is very simple. No, it's a fad. All right, we're done.
It's all a fad, right? Yes, we can.
All right, folks, you can turn it off. You got your answer. You're good to go.
That's it.
Move on. All right. No, seriously, it's great to be here. So whatever you want to talk about, we talk about. Video. You know, Facebook Live.
No, let's not talk about video right away, because that's sort of that's where we are today, right? But that's not where we came from. You and I came from a world where we were doing teleseminars where it's audio only, remember? And in the old days, you couldn't get more than 200 people on a phone line.
200? That was a big phone line.
That was a big phone bridge back then.
So my first phone bridge, you want to go that far?
I want to go back that far, because it was nice to show the evolution.
So I actually still have a hidden page on my website that talks about teleseminar and explains what a teleseminar is. Because when you told somebody, you know, to get on a teleseminar, they went like, what?
What?
So a teleseminar is like a workshop you participate from home. You dial in and there's a teacher and there are students, right? And you hear the teacher teaching. So I actually had a graphic done that showed me with like prongs out of my head and a bunch of people on the phone and said, this is a teleseminar. You dial into one line, everybody teaches. My first teleseminar was Mr. Conference. And I truly believe they actually still exist. I don't know.
Yep.
So Mr. Conference, you had 30 lines and zero control. Do you remember that? Zero control.
I do remember that.
You couldn't mute.
My gosh.
There was no recording.
Yep.
So I got to tell you this is fantastic. If somebody went to the bathroom and flushed the toilet, you heard it. If they were doing dishes, if they were yelling at the kids, if they, you know, passed gas, all of that was right there on your teleseminar. How exciting. And
well, you couldn't mute anybody. You're right.
No.
You didn't have a master mute button
Nothing.
like we do with the, you know, the modern systems today. And it was, everyone was sort of, this is like a big party line, right? That's really all it was. Everyone was on the phone at the same time. You could hear everything. Yep. And if you had too many people and they were too noisy, you couldn't hear anything. Couldn't do the job.
Yeah, if somebody was a jerk and had a lot of background noise, you couldn't hear anything, or just, you know, just the lines themselves. The recording part, I don't know if you've ever done this, but the recording part was you had to record from your phone. We had a little gizmo that went into like the transcription recording, a little transcription device recorded, right? From that, we played it back into the computer, real speed, to get, what was the audio format? Like the old audio format, do you remember?
Oh, it wasn't Wave. It was before Wave.
Before Wave. What was it?
Oh, gee, I don't remember.
I just
went
blank.
GMP. There was.
Oh, what was the format? I can't remember.
Yeah, there was Windows Media Player.
But you had to go into that format, and then from that format, convert the file into, like some sort of playable things that you could play on the internet. I remember.
We had a little phone bug. Remember the little phone bug to copy from the phone line?
Yeah.
I remember that.
So to get a conversation from telephone to the computer, again, was like 7 steps, and a couple of them were in real time. You couldn't just go like, press and file as converted. You had to real time play the tape to get it into the audio on the computer. And this is only 15 years ago.
I know.
I remember when
we came a long way, because especially back then, nobody really knew what a teleseminar was.
No.
And not only that, they were afraid to get on it because they didn't want to be heard. Right? Anybody speaking publicly, people get afraid.
I'm still afraid today.
I know.
People might actually hear me. It's like terrifying.
Terrified of the stage.
Now I'm on camera.
And you're live, and there's how many people watching, right?
3.
No, and so it got better from there. We had a little bit better, systems come up over the years. And then I remember the very first time I did webcasting, where I did video. And it just sticks in my mind how quickly the audience participation changed and how much the impact was bigger on the audience than just hearing the audio alone. Because if you're listening to a telephone call, what's the obvious thing people are doing? They're listening to a telephone call, but they're on the internet, they're surfing Google, they're doing whatever they're doing. They're only half paying attention.
Yep.
But now when you're on video, what happens? Now you've got their full attention.
I have no idea what
they have to be on that screen, and they have to watch you. So 2004, this came about. I was using, what was it called back then? It's Macromedia Breeze was the name of the software we were using back then. And it was flash-based, and the video was about the size of a postage stamp.
Yep.
But that's all it took.
Yep.
And I found the relationship I had with the people I was coaching week after week when I went to video changed everything for me.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a massive difference. And it was funny because I did a live seminar and I had, at a hotel, and all those people, that were invited, and a bunch of them came, and I walked into the hotel and they spotted me at 100 yards. Because they were seeing me, and I didn't know who any of them were. It was just like, wow, all these people coming up to me, they know exactly who I was. Because it was video.
Yeah,
changed the game.
It's very different when you see a picture of someone versus when you actually see them live on video.
Very much so.
So that's true, because I remember when we started, we didn't get into video. Like, I actually did some, recorded video posting. I think it wasn't until about 2006. But yeah, it's like people were giving us feedback instantly. And my kind of reputation or relationship with an audience, just like you said,
changed.
I would go to a live event, very different reaction. People were emailing, interacting us a lot more when they start seeing video.
Yeah. It's almost that thing that we always talk about, the eye-to-eye connection, right? We have an eye-to-eye connection because we're looking in the camera now. It's like we're looking right through their computer screen, right at the person watching the video. Which you don't have with just audio alone.
Yep.
So we've come a long way, and now it's gotten even easier. You don't need the fancy setup like we have here. It's sort of funny to think, I've invested in building this whole thing, and now someone can take up their smartphone and do
the same
pretty much
thing
the same
here,
thing.
right? No.
Right? No studio required, and a lot of them are doing it. So people just stand outside with their phone in front of them. They got a little selfie stick, and they're doing a video, and it looks great. It sounds great. You're connecting with them.
Which just kind of brings another point, which is a great suggestion for you, for one of the guests to bring on board, is someone to actually talk about how to talk on camera.
That's a very good idea. That's a very good idea.
Everybody has the capability now to whip up the phone and start teaching, but teaching is almost, especially when you have your iPhone, you put it on a stick and you start teaching, it's almost like you've got to be theater trained, have theatrical training, because now you're performing a Shakespearean monologue for 3 minutes. That's hard.
That's hard,
right? And try teaching for 15 minutes, or try teaching for 45 minutes. Where this is essentially really, really weird. I don't know if there's outer space intelligence zooming in on us, go like, look at that idiot. They're talking. They got a stick and they're talking to a little square box. Like, la 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 la. And they carry.
How true.
It's like, what's wrong with this person, right? There's a bunch of lunatics out there.
Well, that was when the first Bluetooth headsets came out. People with long hair, you wouldn't see it. That's like, they're talking to themselves. It's the weirdest thing.
So, but yeah, that's so someone that's been teaching and training And like if you've done teleseminars in the past and then evolved to webinars, it's still weird because you're talking essentially to yourself, right? But at the very least, we all had experience of talking into a phone.
Right.
But now you're like talking into nothing. So I think it's a very needed skill for folks to learn. To actually carry a conversation with an audience that's not there.
Well, I think you're very well qualified to teach that course. So if you want to teach that course, you can come here. We'll teach it.
Yeah, don't take his word for it. He's sweating here because he has no idea what's going on. I'm like, ruining the whole interview. Probably have to delete this in a moment.
No, I'm having fun. So let's talk about where it got started for you, because I know the progression. You've been doing teleseminars. When did you start with teleseminars?
I'm still starting.
You're still starting?
See what I tell you?
Yeah, there you go.
So my first teleseminar was in 2000, sometime in 2000, maybe 2001 at the latest. All right.
That's about
and
when
I remember
started, right.
watching so I forgot who I was watching, but they were using was it WebEx? I think it was. Was it WebEx? I think WebEx was one of those technologies, and they had bridge lines, right?
Right.
And I'm like, wow, it'd be so great to do it. But their bridge lines were like $1,000 a month plus like 80 cents a minute per participant, something like this. And I'm going like, there's no freaking way I could do this, right? Because I didn't know how to monetize it or anything. So then luckily I found this Mr. Conference and got started with this. And then I remember being at the seminar where instant teleseminar was being introduced. And now it's like, imagine this. You dial your phone, and immediately from your phone, you can put the audio on the computer. Imagine having that. Wow, amazing, right? That was actually audio generated. That was first. Audio generated came first. Then instant teleseminar came on board. Imagine having all of that. Or imagine wanting to do a teleseminar, and you just go to your computer, you push a few buttons, and it's going to give you a registration page where people can go and, whoa, it's like mind-blowing,
awesome,
right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep.
And today, I'm just like, I tell people all the time, look, you want to create a webinar or webcast or whatever, Facebook Live. Well, how do you get people registered? That's simple, create a private group. People need to get into a private group, and then you broadcast your video in a private group. It's super secure. They can't share it with anybody because it's in the group only. I mean, you don't need it, it's free.
I know.
I mean, it's crazy.
That's the thing that people don't really get yet. I mean, well, maybe we do, but I think a lot of people don't get that all these technologies are available to us, and for the price of an internet connection, which we already have. You know what I mean? You're already paying for your internet.
You get it for free in the library. You get kicked out for being loud, but you got to talk in a quiet voice.
Okay,
right?
but you can do it. You can get away with it.
I mean, the beautiful part is, I think, if an idiot like me can get on TV and do some stuff on the internet, people actually want to come and watch and pay me money for doing some of those things. I mean, the other day I was reading an article, and a millennial was rating how millennials have it screwed, how all the Gen Xers, how we ruin it for them, and there's no opportunities. I'm like, are you kidding me? All you got to do is flash your naked ass on YouTube, and you've got millions of views, and you get paid money for it. It's all free, right? And you do it with your phone. But what do you mean there's no opportunities? Right? So with it all amazes me. YouTube, Facebook Live, Snapchat, Periscope, Meerkat, whatever it is, all of those tools, I'm fascinated. Because all you've got to do is find an idea for something. I think it's got to be actually more interesting than useful. This is an interesting part, right? In the past, what they used to teach, like, you've got to be useful to people. Nowadays, there's so many useful things that you've got to be interesting and funny. And people will come in droves, what's the word? In droves, thank you very much. In Ponglish, it sounds differently, right? People will come in droves and pay attention, and if you get enough in audience, it's mind-blowing. I have just read an article that there is some show on TV, like a main TV show, and they've got a hefty annual marketing budget, and they've got less weekly viewership than a bunch of YouTubers. They do it for free.
Wow, that's an amazing stat.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That they get they get an audience of whatever millions of views, and some YouTubers get exactly the same, and they do it for free. They've got no studio, there's no marketing budget.
There's no overhead.
There's no overhead, and they do it with 2 iPhones and a little, Apple computer splicing the things together.
Well, you can splice it together on an iPad.
That's
You
it.
can bring your 2 iPhones into your iPad. There are apps that'll do that for you.
That's it.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Crazy. So you, like me, believe that today there's more opportunity than ever for business owners.
Absolutely.
And I think, Adam, maybe we can talk about this, because this is the sort of the analogy that I keep running by people when they talk about this. Like, we had, in 1995, I started doing bulk email. It was called spam email back then, I guess, but it was a newsletter. It was people who wanted to receive it, and we would send one email out to hundreds, maybe thousands of people.
In 1995?
In 1995.
I think I still have a few copies of your emails saved. They were really good copies.
You may. That was the year that Corey Rudel took off.
Yep.
Right, back then, and he started sending a lot of email out. And we taught for many years after that, you got to build your list, you got to build your list, you got to build your list. And so many in our marketplace started to build a list. And I would say to them, did you email your list yet? Well, not yet. Or other people would say, yeah, I emailed my list, and I'm waiting for the response. I'm saying, well, how long ago did you email your list? And they would say, well, about a month ago. And I'm still waiting for the response, right? This has happened, right? Exactly. And I think that just because the tool is there does not mean necessarily that people are ready to take advantage of it. I was dying to get on Facebook mentions, right, when that first came out, but it was only really for celebrities. And sorry, guys, I'm not yet a celebrity, so I couldn't get on it. But so I started using Periscope and all these other tools, and I was raving about it. And I was talking to a lot of chiropractors, and I was talking to a lot of business owners, and they would say, yeah, the tools are great, but you have a personality for that, and I don't. And it was the same feeling that I had was, here you are building this mailing list, but you're afraid to hit that button and send and hit send. Yep. So just because the tool is there, we talked about this before, doesn't mean necessarily you're actually trained or ready to jump in and use it.
Yeah, so I always talk about, a number of different things. So the capability of having something is one, right? So having the technology, having the tools, or having a structure to do something is one. But then there are two other parts. One is the courage or the confidence, right, to actually do something, and a decision to do it, and a commitment to do it. So I remember in the older days when we talked about it, people would say, do I need to have a blog? Well, I don't know, do you? It's just like another thing. It's another tool. I always compare it to this. If you give, I remember forever and ever I was using print calendars, like organizers, like Franklin Covey organizer. Right. And then Palm Pilot came out, right? Remember Palm Pilot? This is like, what, 1990 something, right? Yeah. Wow, what an awesome thing. But now here's the thing. If you give somebody an organizer or a Palm Pilot or now an iPhone with a calendar, does it make them procrastinate less? Does it make them a more organized person?
No.
No. It just gives them a tool with which they can be more organized.
Well,
right?
It's another thing to be confused about.
Yeah. Oh, it's exactly. Yeah. Unless they make a decision, look, I'm going to use that tool to be more organized, and then they have the discipline and the confidence to follow through. So discipline is like internal, right? If you just do something yourself, you have internal discipline. If you want to put yourself out there, well, now you've got to have the confidence to put yourself, and you can't wait for the feedback. It's like the confidence has to come from within. It's like whatever happens, happens. I don't care. Right? I can't control it. I might as well just do something.
Oh, we wish we could control it. We wish we could block some of the people that give us comments that we don't like. And
well, which I really do. You don't know, but
like, you do it anyway.
Moment, telepathically, I control most of the world. So, and then I.
But yeah, you get to a point where you just can't let it bother you. You just got to keep moving forward.
See what I'm telling you? It's like I have my own conversation.
That's right.
It's like, let me bring this guy back. It's like, come on, wait a second. So interesting story about Corey Rudel.
Tell me.
So I met him just after he got married. And shortly before he died. But I remember in 2000, all right, so here I was, I just sold my restaurant business, I got online, and I'm thinking, actually I wasn't even quite online. I was thinking, you know what, I want to launch my coaching consulting business, and I'm looking at ways to market, and I'm looking, market online. Nobody was thinking marketing online back then, right? 2000 was just a .com bust, blow up, whatever it was, right? It was like this internet thing is a fad, it's going to go away in a couple of weeks.
Well, those are the years before, I was marketing online back in 1989.
Yep.
When I began, and the
really
concept,
old,
the term of internet marketer didn't come about probably till about 2005 before it started getting used. So we were on the online prior to that. Yeah.
So I am on Corey Rudel's page. All right. So think about it. Now, Corey Rudel is not like the most American name, is it?
No, not at all.
All right. Yeah. And then I'm reading and I'm thinking, this guy has like all this story how to make money online. I'm thinking this is such a scam, right? And then there's a testimonial. Oh, we were doing pretty well before, but now with Corey's stuff, we're doing 50,000 online a month from Armand Morin. Another great name, right? And I'm thinking, this is a bunch of scammers, like made up. There's nobody in the planet Earth named Corey Rudo and Armand Moore, and it's like this total scam.
You really thought that?
I thought that because like those are weird names.
They are strange names,
right? And when you think about a bunch of fear, people had giving credit cards on the internet and all of that, so I always say I'm so grateful that I didn't give in to that fear and that chatter in my head, like, oh, this is a scam, this will never work, this is because that's what everybody else was saying.
Right.
And I started looking into this and investing and learning. Because for many years, I mean, still in many aspects, I was way out of the curve with what I was doing in marketing my professional services, online. That's kind of what got me started in this business.
Well, that's one of the things I respect the most about you is you're one of the pioneers in the internet marketing game. I mean, you weren't the first out there, but you certainly have been out there. I'm going to say 20 years.
Yeah.
Fair assessment.
Yep.
And you've seen it, and you've played with it, and you've done it, and you continue to do it. And there are a lot of people who come into the internet marketing game, as you know, and they dabble.
Yep.
Right? They never send an email out, and they start a blog, but they never post anything on it. Or they may do one Periscope Live, and it was nerve-wracking for them. They'll never do it again, or so on and so forth. But you're right. You got past the chatter. You just said, you know what? I've got a vision. This stuff works for them. I'm going to make it work for me too.
Yep. You just have to, and you use the good word. You use the word double, right? And it's like, difference between being interested and being committed. So you can play with it, but eventually you got to realize that you got to go somewhere. You got to do it, just like you with the show, right? I mean, it's one thing to make, to put the studio together. You've got the technology, and now what, right?
Right.
But now it takes commitment. So you're reaching out to people and say, hey, come over and hang out with me. Drive down here to my neck of the woods. Get in my studio. You're asking people for a commitment of time and effort and so on. That takes guts. Right? It takes guts.
It does, and some people have said no.
Some people are great friends, and they will do whatever.
Yeah.
And some people you might not be that well connected with, but you want them. You reach out.
Exactly.
Right? And it's the easiest
you never
thing
know who's going to say yes.
you know what, they're going to probably say no anyway, so I might not even try.
Right.
And that's what most everybody does. They probably say no anyway. Well, then what do you have to lose? They might just say yes, and you gain something. And it's that kind of mentality. It's the same thing with an email. People will not like me. Well, so they won't. What if one person likes you? Wouldn't that be freaking awesome? Right? And then you do your video. And by the way, how do you say video?
Webcasting.
No, but when you say video, how do you say it?
Video?
Yeah, so he does that. We don't do that. We do video.
Video.
Okay? Yeah, we do video. Okay?
Video. That's a different word.
Yeah, we do. So what he does, we don't do that. We only do video. Okay. So, when we
Making
do video,
the distinctions here,
I have the same thing. It's like, will my hair come out good on camera? It's like, hey,
your hair looks great.
It looks awesome, doesn't it? I know.
Not a hair out of place.
The whole point is, look, whatever you call it, whatever tool you use, just get involved and stick with it. And then every time you learn, I think another thing that people don't do enough, I call it life's greatest teacher. Right? Life's greatest teacher. Life's greatest is your experience.
Right.
But what we don't do is, so we have an experience, and here's what happens. If it's an awesome experience, we cheer each other, we give each other high fives, we move on. It's like, wow, it feels so great, because experience met our expectation. Like we imagine we're going to get on live, Facebook Live, and then we're going to have 5,000 views immediately. People are going to be leaving comments and loving the video. It's like, wow, this is so awesome. Right? And we go, this is so exciting, we got to do it again. But now what happens, you do another live stream, and your expectation was we're going to get 5,000 views, and it's like 5 people showed up. Your cat and your grandma.
Your grandma showed up, yes. Yeah. I remember when grandma shows up.
So the experience didn't meet your expectations.
Right.
So now we beat ourselves up. It didn't work. I'm stupid. I don't know.
What did I do wrong?
Yeah, people didn't like me. Somebody hit, angry, whatever, and you move on. But instead, whether it was a great experience or bad experience, where you want to go back is, and go back afterwards and debrief yourself. So what did I learn? What worked? What didn't work? What exactly worked? How can I do more of it? Which part didn't work? How can I do less of it or eliminate it, right? And you do it 2 or 3 times, and you become really, really good at identifying what works and multiplying it and eliminating what didn't work and eliminating it.
We have this false meme that goes in our society, and we look out there and we say, look at this kid, this Justin Bieber on YouTube, right? You know, how Justin Bieber,
Never
how
heard.
successful he became a singer, you know, all that kind of thing. And we have this meme that we just do one video and bang, it explodes. Or we send one email and you make $30,000, $60,000. Some people make $1 million and they tell you, I just did it with one email.
After they
But
worked
that's
for
not
5
true.
years to
But
build
that
that
is
email list.
absolutely not true, exactly.
So I call it marketing shortcuts.
Right.
All right. Which is, look, you know, and we do it all the time in our communications when we communicate persuasively. And somewhere we understand it, but we give in to hope and we choose not to understand it. So here's what I'm referring to. You know, Robert, would you like to learn how to make $100,000 in a weekend?
Of course.
Well, duh. Well, let me tell you. But now, here's the real title of the program. The program you bought is How to Make $100,000 in a Weekend. The real title of the program is How to Get Banged Up and Bloodied and, you know, and scraped and rejected for a decade. How to take 5 years to build a list of 10,000 people get cursed. How to spend $100,000 to learn how to do all of this stuff. How to spend another $100,000 to learn how to bring audience into a seminar room and know how to communicate to them persuasively. So then you can eventually do a 2-day seminar and make $100,000. Right?
How
so this
true.
is a
How
10-year journey. But what you want to hear is how to make $100,000 in the weekend. Because if I tell you, hey, start 10 years ago, go through all this shit, rejection, failure, disappointments, and then eventually, ta-da, here you are, Mr. and Mrs. Successful, right? Well, it's like for some reason we have this faulty thing in our brains that wants to not hear the ugly part and just go like, give me the shortcut. Well, yeah, there is no shortcut.
But
Which,
that's
by the way, I'm
what
realizing
we buy the shortcut.
My chair is your chair squeaking?
No, my chair's not squeaking.
You do it on purpose, right?
That's
you give me
right.
like a squeaky chair. That's it. You give me like a squeaky chair.
Next time you come, I'll buy you a new chair. We'll have a higher chair for you next time. How's that?
I actually think he looks taller than me, don't you think? It's all on purpose. It's like it's intimidation tactic.
It's intentional. You're right. My chair's on a phone book. You see.
I'm never getting invited again.
No, that's
I might as well
you may not
milk
come
it.
back. Yeah, exactly. So let's keep going with this because this is Adam Urbanski doing a motivational speech, which I didn't expect today. I thought we were going to talk tactics, but I like this even better.
It's a demotivational speech.
No, it's
don't
actually,
start. It's too hard. Give up now.
That's just it. It's passion. It's commitment. Right. It's not about making $1 million overnight, although that does happen. It's extremely rare. It's like finding a diamond. You know, just like it's luck rather than anything that you could replicate and do again and again. And it's the same thing with these Facebook Live videos. It's the same thing with sending an email. It's the same thing. You know, people say, well, you send email out, you make a lot of money with email. Yeah, but I send out a lot of email. A lot of email does absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Crickets. I mean, you think nobody's even read your email. And sometimes you do interviews, sometimes you do videos, sometimes you do training, and nothing happens. I've been to seminars where I've spoken and, you know, no sales. You know, so you're upside down completely on that, but you don't stop. You figure out, okay, what did I do wrong? What can I improve the next time? And that's, I think, where people really do it. You're right. That's where they fall down. They dabble and they try it once, and well, it didn't work for me. I'm not a millionaire overnight.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You know, it takes a little bit longer than that.
Didn't work for me. I know. I tried. It didn't work. So, what are we talking about?
I'm liking your motivational speech. Can we keep going with the motivational talk? This is good.
I'm telling you, give up, people. It's really hard work.
Quit while
Everything
you're
is
ahead.
hard work. Quit while you're ahead.
Yep.
I had
that experience.
Milk your parents if you can. Just live up
I
your
had
parents.
that experience in photography when I became a commercial photographer right out of college, and I had spoken to a guy who was already a commercial photographer, and he told me, the best piece of advice I can give you is quit right now. Just quit, because it's too hard. You're not going to love it.
And you see, you were so thick-headed, you didn't listen.
I didn't listen. I'm still doing photography
you're
and video to
regretting
this
it now.
day. Yeah, no, I still love it. You know, it's fun. It's fun for me.
So, video.
Video.
Just do more video. It's gonna work for you eventually.
Keep talking. Keep talking.
Blah 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 blah.
So you talked about something really interesting earlier, and before we actually went online here, we did live, and we were talking about it and saying that, and this is a really key distinction, I think, for a lot of people to understand. This is just a tool. That's all it is. This is just a hammer.
Yeah.
You know, Periscope is your screwdriver. You know, you look at Facebook Live and it's just a hammer. The truth of the matter is, if you don't have, you could have the nails, you could have the lumber, you could have all of it, but that doesn't make a house. You still need the plan behind it.
So when we talked about it a little bit before we got on camera, is I'm a good tactician, but first and foremost, I'm a strategist always. So pretty much any training, any program, anything that I do with clients, most people are tacticians. So they come back and say, should I use Facebook Live? Should I use, Meerkat or Periscope? Or should I be on Snapchat? Or should I do blogging? Should I do blogging or YouTube or whatever? And I'm like, okay, these are all fantastic tools. But unless you know what you want those tools to do for you, you just be busy using tools. And are you getting what you want to get? So as we talked before, the first thing is, what are you trying to do? What's your end game? So, and once you know what it is, what are you selling? What problem are you solving, and for whom are you solving it? Is your audience on Facebook? I mean, many audiences are on Facebook, some are not. So for some audiences, your Facebook Live may not be, it may not be a tool. You may be better off with, Instagram or Pinterest or whatever you're doing without video. So, for the most part, video will always help you. Always, always, always. Whether it's, webinars where you just have slides and voiceover, right? For training purposes, that's helpful too. Whether you're sharing screenshots and you're helping people, or you just get on camera and teach. Video will always help because you have sound and voice, right? With voice, there is so much you can go, hey folks, I've got it. Come over here. I want to tell you a secret. I mean, there's so much you can do that it's so hard to do in copy and pictures, right? You can communicate a lot. So I think it's going to help you, but you've got to have the ultimate goal in mind. What are you trying to accomplish? And then once you do that and you get into whatever tool you get into, I think consistency is huge. You cannot get dissuaded by, none of us. I'm laughing to my own thoughts.
I know where you're going with this.
But people always come to me and say, in the older days, I would say you've got to do some articles. You've got to write a few articles. People say, well, I'm not a writer. I said, well, it's kind of funny because at one point you were not a talker and not a walker.
True,
right? And amazing.
Very
look,
true.
You talk and walk today. And if you
how did you do it?
Yeah, and if we had the conscious memory of the startup process, we would have given up immediately because learning to walk was very freaking painful. We bumped our head. We had bruises all over. Right? We couldn't get it right. And then try talking. For most people, it takes them like months and months and months and even years to figure out this talking thing. So again, when none of us started as a talker and a walker, and yet we do it today. So when someone says, I'm not a writer, I'm like, well, because you decided so.
That's right.
You decided
but
so.
But the more you practice, the more you do it, the better you become at it.
Yeah. So if you want to do video, get on video and just do it consistently. The first time, the second time, it won't be good, but then it'll get better. And I always say the universe is infinitely wise because I remember my first teleseminar, there were 8 people on it. All right, and I met them, all 8 of them, through networking, and they came on my first teleseminar. And I am so grateful that only 8 of them witnessed how miserable I was and how horrible I was because I had no idea what I was doing, right? Imagine if the universe sent me like 10,000 people on that call. Now I just pissed off and ruined relationship with 10,000 people because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. This way, 8 friends took pity on me and well, it wasn't all the best, but I was all right. We survived, right?
We made it.
And then next time there were 16 people, and next time there were 24, and I was getting better and better and better. And then I got so good that 25 people came, and each one wanted to tell 10 friends because they were like, "Oh my God, this is so good," and it's on the phone, But it wasn't until the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th time where it started gaining some momentum and skill.
Nice. Okay, we're going to let our Facebook audience go in a minute here, but before we do that, I want to let them know, you have a free ebook on your website here. We have
I do?
This Marketing Mentors website.
Oh, yeah.
There is a free PDF download on that website. You want to tell them about it?
I've heard about this guy. He's really smart.
He's really smart. He's really good.
I don't know what's on the website, but we primarily teach people that are in service industry, some sort of talent, genius, gift, expertise, and they want to make more money with it. We teach them how to package the services into premium offers. So on our website, we give you kind of our inside business model. We give you strategies how to get more leads and convert more leads into clients. So go to whatever is on the screen, and if you want to hang out with us more, great. If not, find me on Facebook, and just, be brave because I bite.
Alrighty, well, I'm going to say goodbye to our Facebook Live audience. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to watch the rest of the interview, Adam, you're going to hang out for a little bit, and we're going to continue chatting here for maybe another 30 minutes or so. And we're going to take the entire interview, put it all together, and we're going to put it up on the marketingnetwork.tv. It's for our members. If you want to become a member, it's really cheap, just $9.99 a month or $97 for the entire year. You get access to all the interviews we're doing here, the full interview, not just the half of it, because you're only getting the first portion of the interview here, the first half hour typically on Facebook Live. Love to have you as a member. Come join us. It's a lot of fun. And we've got a lot of great guests coming up.
So before you sign off, I want to make sure we tell them what we're going to talk about next.
Okay. Tell them.
So we're going to talk about all the things nobody wants you to know. So if you want to, seriously, no, you know what? We're going to talk about some mistakes, most mistakes that people make, whether you're doing webcasts, webinars, you're going to go on video. So let's talk about like 5 biggest things we see that really mess people up. So I think that's one thing we're going to go into. There's another thing we're going to get into, which is how do you actually monetize we're going to talk about a couple of different techniques, whether you do your little iPhone video or you have, a nice studio broadcast. We're going to talk about how can you use it to either accelerate whatever it is that you're doing or actually make money for other people with it. So some really good monetizing ideas are coming up. If you want to, hang around and buy whatever it is that you need to buy to get in there, I think it's going to be worth your money. I don't make a penny of it. I think Robert gets to keep like $1 or something when you buy, so.
That's right. It usually goes to streaming, the bandwidth, and eats it all up. But
he's going like, I'm never inviting this guy again. I don't know what the hell he's doing. He's hijacking my program.
I love it. No, I love it. I'm going to have you back here next week. What are you talking about? All right, Facebook friends, thank you for watching. And the marketingnetwork.tv is where you want to go. You want to sign up for membership there, and that's where you will get to watch the entire interview. Adam and I will continue now offline. Thanks for watching.
Take care.